Hello, leaders. This is Paul Grau Jr., and welcome to Run to Your Leadership Challenges. So, today I got a very special guest with me, Mr. Craig Walker. I recently met him through a group that we're both members of, the CCA group, or Christian Coaching Academy, run by Justin Janowski. And it's such a great group. And I talked to Craig the other day, and he is just he's what I would consider a man's man. I mean, if you're watching YouTube right now, you can see his background. It's got this rugged, like log cabin look. I love it. He just took a trip to Montana and fished in all my favorite spots that I fished in, and I kind of lived vicariously through him while he was up there sharing pictures. But I've been talking a lot to Craig lately, and man, I just wanted to have him on. So, welcome, Craig, and welcome to the show.
Thanks. It's my privilege to be here. Thank you for that introduction. I'm feeling stronger and more manly already.
Well, that's good, man. I aim to encourage. It's so. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, I had just a little intro there, but
Yeah. Gosh, I'm married to Debbie, my high school sweetheart, actually my junior high sweetheart.
wow,
And we've been married for over 50 years, coming up on 51 in February. We have
wow,
six
congratulations.
children, 14 grandchildren. I tell everybody if I knew grandchildren were as good as they are, I would have started with grandkids. And they're pretty special.
I think there's an order though there.
Yeah, there is a little bit. Yeah, I've done a lot of different things in my life. I was taught to work with my hands, so I got into auto body repair. That led me into a General Motors job of helping them in their paint in the early days and in the 70s. And then I got saved, and God had a different calling for my life. And went into ministry, planted three different churches, was a pastor for 36 years. And in
Wow.
this last season of my life, I'm taking some of the things that God has taught me and I'm using it to help leaders reach their maximum potential.
Mm,
So that's my joy. I coach. Actually, I say I coach men, Christian men, and help them overcome self doubt, that thing that holds them back, shame, so that they can become more influential husbands, fathers, and leaders.
yeah, man. What you said about helping them become that high performance or that maximum high performance. That's season 11. I mentioned to you earlier that season 11 on the podcast here is all about I'm trying to focus on that high performing leader,
Mhm.
and you fit right into that because I recently purchased your book. Right here it is, Shameless, the life you were born to love. And I'll tell you, I'm halfway through chapter one only, and it is just so powerful. So, tell me a little bit about this book and what made you write a book.
Yeah, I knew most of my life I struggled with self-doubt. But,
Mm,
kind of doesn't everybody a little,
yeah.
we second guess ourselves, we question our decisions. We fear making some decisions. And I was about 58 years old, and I thought, enough. I'm tired of this. I
Mm,
believe there's more to me than I've given to the Lord and to this world and to my family.
yeah.
And I had that night, like Jacob, wrestled with God all night long until He set me free. And I can't say it was a miraculous freedom, but it led me. He led me through some decisions that I made. One decision that I made that night, and then some other decisions that I made based on that over the next few days. That I really won that battle. God literally set me free.
Wow.
And what I was struggling with, I didn't know it. You could have asked me, and I would have known it. But I was struggling with shame.
Mm,
Shame, and I will say this to everyone listening, shame's universal. Everyone struggles with it. You either are struggling with it, have struggled with it, and won your battle, or you're about to struggle with it. So no one
mm,
gets out of this without struggling with it. It's a universal struggle. The second thing I would tell you about shame is that it operates from the shadows. It's not
mm,
out in the light where you can say, "Oh, that's shame. That's what I'm dealing with." No, it stays in the background where you can't see it.
mm.
Others can see your struggle more than you can, but it's really difficult for us to see. And so, coming to grips with the fact that I dealt with that and struggled with that, that was the first hurdle I had to overcome.
Yeah. That's you know, you said it wasn't miraculous, but I think we downplay things in our lives that are small miracles that, and with in your case, it changed your life. So might have not been an instant miracle, but it, I think you can attest to now looking back, it definitely was a miracle, right?
Well, I actually qualify it. I say it's just I think what happened to me is I just say what I experienced is the predictable results of leaning into the grace of God.
Ah, nice.
And so what I would classify as a miracle is something that's just beyond anything that we can explain. Walking on
Mhm.
water, you can't train yourself to walk on water.
Yeah,
It just doesn't happen. You can't train yourself to call fire down from heaven, to part the Red Sea, to raise the dead to life. It's not quantifiable. I can't
yeah,
get better at any of those things,
yeah,
but I can trust God just to do what He says, and really, literally, that's what I did.
mhm,
And taking those faith steps that He walked me through, it's just like it was eye opening. I tell everyone it felt like magic. It wasn't. It
yeah,
was just grace, the grace of God, and its natural outpouring when you really lean into God and trust Him.
yeah.
So,
And you're helping me do that right now.
well, I think anyone that's willing to say there's more to me than I've been giving,
Mm,
it and then willing to walk through those steps. And after I did that, I realized, gosh, most of my staff struggles with this. My
mm,
children struggle with this. I passed on to my kids who I am, not who I want them to think I am.
yeah,
And so,
yeah,
actually, that's why I wrote the book. I knew that they had learned to cope and deal with the self doubt and fear the same way I had. And I thought, what if they could wake up tomorrow and realize there's nothing wrong with them? There's nothing missing, nothing broken, nothing so deep ingrained that you can't change. Literally, they should be able to say, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength, just like Paul did. And
yeah,
and I know I said that a million times in my life, and then I would come up against something that, well, not that. I can't do
yeah,
that.
yeah,
And I'm not smart enough, I'm not gifted enough, to, whatever it is, all these not enough feelings, which is
yeah,
shame at work. Anytime you feel like, well, I'm not enough, or I'm not good at that, or not whatever, and God's asking you to do it, then you're operating against shame, because literally you can do everything God asks you to do. And I
yeah,
believe that everybody is a 10 somewhere. Rick Warren said that in his book, Purpose Driven Life. And I don't know that I really believed at the time, but I do now. I don't believe we're a 10 at everything, but I believe that every one of us is a 10 at something, every single one of us.
yeah.
And
I often speak about getting a job or a career or a vocation that is paired up with your strengths.
mhm,
Because if you're in a job and you're not able to utilize your strengths, man, you're missing out on so much. And I think our strengths and our natural gifts and talents, God gives them to us not for our benefit, but for us to share with others, for others, the benefit of others. And when we're not using them, man, we're depriving a lot of people that we come into contact with of what God has blessed us with to help them.
amen. I believe that when you give yourself completely to God and for his purposes, what you're actually doing is taking a giant step towards discovering who he made you to be.
Mm,
And
yeah.
until you say, God, here I am. And really, this is the whole crux of Romans chapter 6, which is grace working in us through salvation.
Mm,
After he tells us, consider, know that you died with Christ, were buried with Christ, resurrected with Christ. And now consider that everything Christ did, that he did for you. That's who you are. And he said,
mm,
knowing that, he said, now then give your whole self, every member of your body as an instrument to do what is right to please God.
mm,
And sometimes we fear that. We stay back. Oh gosh, what if he asked me to? Well, if he does, it's the best thing in the world that could happen to you. and you're going to love it more than you love anything else. And what people have to recognize is your greatest life is on the other side of that door of what your greatest fear. And so if you can
Mhm.
step through that, what is your greatest fear, you can step
Wow.
into what is your greatest life. That thing you've said, oh my gosh, I can't believe I can do that. I can't believe I was
Wow.
made for that. I can't believe I get to do this.
Yeah.
But you have to step through that door of fear often to get there.
Got to step through the door. And that takes courage sometimes, right?
Yeah, and let me just quantify that. We call it courage, grit, boldness. What it is, it's it's courage born out of faith, which is born out of understanding who you are and who
Oh.
God is.
Hey, we're going to stop it right there for today because there's probably two more episodes here in this interview. Now, if you want to catch the whole interview uninterrupted from start to finish, you can check it out on my YouTube channel. That is Run to Your Challenges YouTube channel. So I hope to see you back tomorrow for part two, possibly the rest of it, but I think we're going to break it up into three shows. So have a great rest of your day, and until tomorrow, run to your challenges.